there's many nuances and complexities to it, but at the end of the day, I lost it, and I guess what I would say, you just never know what somebody's going through. Somebody just found out their spouse cheated, it's like there's all these things and there's strangers and you just don't know what's going on with people. It's, all of that just bubbled up in that moment.
The real reason why Will Smith slapped Chris Rock during the 94th Academy Awards has finally been revealed. We're not gonna lie, we already thought this was the reason why he did what he did, so hearing this now just puts things back into perspective. A few months of silence and now we finally see Will Smith back on the screen. In the actor's newest interview with Trevor Noah, he hints that he attacked Chris Rock because of how angry he is, not because of the offensive joke the comedian made to his wife, but because of his own problems because of his marriage. We're thinking that Will has far too many things to deal with and Chris Rock was just there, the cherry on top of everything. Okay, but for you to fully understand why Will is speaking up right now, you have to know what actually happened a few months back. You probably know what took place since you clicked on this video and because it was trending all over the internet, or else you've been living under a rock. So if you're wondering what really happened that day that led to the Oscars banning Will Smith, here's how it went. In a glimpse, a comedian told a joke and one of Hollywood's A-listers had a furious overreaction to it would ultimately be what seized the world's attention. Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head, which did not appear to go over well with her husband Will. While presenting the award for Best Documentary, Chris joked, "Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2 can't wait to see it." The camera cut to Pinkett Smith, who rolled her eyes as she sat next to Will. This makes a bit more sense once you realize that G.I. Jane had no hair and a bald head. You won't find it funny when you figure out that Jada Pinkett Smith has been open about her struggle with alopecia, an autoimmune disorder that leads to hair loss, and someone like Chris Rock just made an offensive joke about it, but it still shouldn't lead to some violent reaction. The comedian then realized he did something wrong as he saw Will Smith walking up to him on the stage. It literally felt like the actor blacked out or something because he randomly proceeded to slap Chris. Will walked back to his wife but still shouted some insane things to Chris.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
That began the long months of the actor being out of the camera. Plus, people made such a big deal out of this on camera that they wanted to cancel his entire career for just one mistake. Even the actors who witnessed the altercation and even Chris Rock himself didn't take it badly. He even joked that that was the greatest night in the history of television and vowed to not press charges against Will for the Oscars slap. According to the cops, we think they just knew something was up with Will that night, and they were right. After the incident, the Academy tweeted a short statement stating they do not condone violence of any form. Everyone on the internet just made the situation worse, and that's what probably led Will into hiding. Just recently, Will Smith admitted that he totally lost it. That's why he ended up being violent to one of his good friends on camera for everyone else to see. He went on a very passionate interview with one of the best TV hosts out there. Thankfully, it was Trevor Noah who made Will Smith open up about the incident and not some of those nasty, hateful TV hosts who were so persistent in canceling him. The interview started out with a few intros here and there. Will explained that he's been staying silent and out of the public eye because he's been traveling around the world for his new TV show called Pole to Pole. Then, Trevor Noah brought up his most recent controversial movie called Emancipation. It turns out that this movie was so personal to him because of its storyline. His family even had a say on it.
My daughter asked me, she's like, "Daddy, do we really need another slave movie?" When I was thinking about it. And I was like, I said, "Baby, I promise you I wouldn't make a slave movie. This is a freedom movie."
The actor ended up crying a bit after talking about that, and we haven't even arrived at the juicy part. Trevor Noah tried to bring up why Will was away for a long time, and the actor actually admitted that he had no proper recollection about it because he was really enraged during that time. Dramatic, we know, but we saw how things went down. Trevor described this as the best and worst day of Will Smith's life, and he wholeheartedly agreed. He reveals that it was such a horrific night for him, and if he was to be asked if he learned anything that night, it's to be kind to everyone because you don't know what they're feeling.
You just never know what somebody's going through. In the audience right now, you're sitting next to strangers, and somebody's mother died last week, somebody's child is sick.
A lot of people think that we saw the real Will Smith that night, and we'll be blunt, we thought so too. But Trevor really thinks that's not it. Will Smith, who was always afraid of conflict, now finally broke down after years of keeping things to himself. See, that's what's bad about keeping problems, because you'll never know when you'll explode and how relentlessly bad it would get. The actor never really specified what conflict or problem he was going through, but he actually hinted what it was all about during this interview. He even added that this isn't who he wants to be. It was just all the rage he has bottled for a really long time. Will finally answered all our guesses to why he really slapped Chris Rock that night, and that's when he said he always just had to save the damsel in distress, but now had to be humbled down. The damsel being none other than his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. So if you go back a bit to what we said a while ago, the interesting thing is what pushed Will Smith to even want to slap Chris Rock was a joke he made about Jada Pinkett. It was a harmless joke that didn't severely hurt anyone. But Will just had to do what he thought he should have and protected Jada. Although instead of protecting her, he just embarrassed him and the rest of his family. He even hints at one point in the interview that a factor that could have made him slap Chris Rock was in fact when somebody just found out your spouse has cheated on someone. You probably know how rocky his marriage is with Jada. We mean, while they were just dating, it was already so difficult for Will to win her attention, so we're kind of wondering why he even stayed. He was so stressed about Jada and Tupac's close relationship that he admitted to the world that he felt less a man than the rapper because Jada always chose him over Will. At one point in their married life, it was revealed that the two have an open marriage, which means that they can see other people while still being married. Jada does that, but Will doesn't. She's seeing August Alsina at the moment. When you watch closely how Jada talks about Will and their open marriage, she makes cheating sound like a spiritual experience. And it's ridiculous because she's tearing his heart to pieces. There's nothing more lonely than being with the wrong person, and one day, Will Smith should realize that. The joke Chris Rock made probably reminded him of his inability to protect Jada Pinkett from other men, which led her to cheat with August. It seems like Jada really broke Will's heart, and that's why he overreacted that day when someone made an offensive comment about her appearance. Honestly, we're so glad Trevor Noah was the one who made Will admit to his problems, because you can never really find a good host like him. All the comments about Will and Trevor were just so positive. It's totally different to how things were months ago when the drama exploded and they just wanted to cancel Will. They're now saying, incredible interview. The grace and compassion extended to Will in this interview was dope to see. Trevor was transparent in expressing that he felt Will's actions were messed up but still chose to uplift his brother instead of kicking him while he's down. And even though Will is laughing, I can hear the pain in it. I hope he's doing well and on a path to healing after a tumultuous last year. Will Smith finally says he was going through something the night he struck Chris Rock, and that something was what we all suspected it to be. There is nothing sadder than being with someone who doesn't love you and possibly maybe never did. Hurt people really hurt people, as Will would say it. That's all we have for you right now. Thank you so much for watching.